Hello, this is Nicole with Angelic Therapy and Healing, bringing you a general reading for the week of Monday, July 17th through Sunday, July 23rd. Welcome to everyone. For those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. If you're interested, you can read a little bit more about me on my webpage, but in short, I'm an angel intuitive. I am an empath. I am a medium. I am clairaudient. I hear Jesus and the angels chat. I'm also a Blu-ray twin flame, and I am a quantum touch energy medicine practitioner. So in short, I'm here to give you guys messages. So get you messages from the angels that will help you with your journeys. We are, for those of you that are subscribers, thanks, we are almost at 10,000 subscribers. I think we're like 100 or so shy. So very likely during next week's reading, I will randomly be able to select, we'll hit that magic 10,000 number of subscribers, and then I'll be able to randomly select 3 people who will be receiving 15-minute readings. So stay tuned, because if we do hit that marker in the reading next week, I will announce who those winners are for that. And let's see here. Oh yeah, okay. So for the webpage, I'm still getting questions about the webpage not being open. I'm still booked with current clients. So for those of you that are new that don't know, I still work full-time. I'm actually in the military full-time. I am going through a very lengthy retirement process. It's a medical retirement, so those do take a while. I survived a bombing and attack in Afghanistan and broke my back and did a whole number of things, but God is good, and I walk, and doctors are shocked, but I'm walking, I'm in great shape considering all things, but I am going through medical retirement, and it is a lengthy process. So honestly, it's very likely that I may not be able to, because I am so busy with current clients already, that I may not be able to actually open the webpage until my retirement is finalized, which it is very near. It's almost there, it's very close, but it's likely that until that's done, I'm already so busy with current clients most days of the week that it will likely have to wait until my retirement is complete, and then I'll be able to open the webpage. But stay tuned. I will continue to update you and keep you posted as to what's occurring. But that is why you cannot get the Book Now page to work on my website. So as soon as that's all finalized and I am able to not work 20 hours a day, trying to get everyone in, I will lift that, and I'll be able to bring some new clients on. So stay tuned. I do look forward to talking with those of you that are new to the page, and hopefully that will, hopefully soon, hopefully this month or next month. So do stay tuned. Thank you for your patience with that. Thank you to everyone for your support and your prayers. I do really appreciate that, and we are almost there. Now let's see here. This week we are going to have on Sunday, the 23rd of July, we're going to have a new moon in Leo. It's going to be around 5:45 in the evening Eastern Standard Time. So if you go to Google, you can, Eastern Standard Time is New York. So if you type in what's the current time in New York, that will let you know what the time difference is compared to where you are at. So you'll be able to find out when that's coming through for you. Now the big thing with this, get my cords fixed as the puppy's jumping up in my lap, is it's going to be very intense, because we're going to be having a grand fire trine. So anyone that is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo, because of the planet alignment with that trine, you are really going to be feeling this new moon. And it is all about energy and action and sex and aggression and war and anger. I mean, it is completely explosive. And it's intended to, you'll also find that you'll be breaking free of traditions. Like anything that's not working for you, you are going to rebel against it. But that's what it's intended to help you do, to break you free of those things, which it is going to be very intense because of that breaking down of those things, setting you free. You're going to find that there's a lot of aggression and impatience. You'll find people will be pushing your buttons, like typically things that you can just brush off that just slightly irritate you are really going to set you off. So try to avoid the impatience, try to avoid the arguments, the aggression, the anger. Really, when you find that something's irritating you, do something to calm yourself down. Choose your battles wisely. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. because you are going to find that you're just pushed and irritated, and you're likely even going to notice that people around you, as well as even your animals, your pets, I mean, they may be fighting amongst each other. But there is going to be this huge buildup of energy. And you may notice that there's going to be possibly, collectively, an increase in deaths and accidents. And accidents specifically with regards to technology and energy. But it's a great, as bad as it sounds, I know, because for some of you you're going to be thinking, oh my gosh, this is horrible news, but it's actually positive, because what's going to happen is this huge build of energy that we have. For those of you that have been feeling stuck, I mean, this is a time to use that energy for creation, because this new moon is all about a time of creation. So if you've been feeling stuck, use this surge to break yourself free of that, because you are going to have this surge of energy, and a lot of you are going to be pushed to make use of this expressive energy to communicate, express yourself. It's also going to be a lot of creative energy and spiritual energy and sexual energy, but make use of that energy, because you are all being pushed to break free of that which does not serve you. And in order to do that, most of us are going to have to express ourselves, and we're going to want to express ourselves. So if you want to express yourself to break free of something, do that. Don't pretend like you're not feeling anything, or don't downplay it, or don't act like nothing's happening, nothing's going on. Because what's been happening in the past, which is really why a lot of it's coming to a head, is because people are not wanting to feel what they're feeling. Sadness, happiness, discontent. They're not wanting to have those conversations. This is a time that it's pivotal. It's an important time. Be honest with yourself and be honest with others, and express those things, communicate those things. Because the seeds that you plant during this full moon will carry you clear through the solar eclipse that we're going to have in August. And if you've not heard anything about the solar eclipse, it's huge. It's being termed as the Great American Eclipse, but it is spiritually, energetically, it's big, it's pivotal. Just do a little bit of research on it, and you'll discover some interesting things. And what's going to happen is these seeds that you plant, you will manifest them. So you want to make sure whatever you're planting is positive. So try to avoid being impulsive and taking any dangerous risks or actions, because momentarily not thinking through the consequences of your actions at this time, they will have long-lasting consequences. So for example, sex is huge with this new moon. If you want to get out and try new things, great. But if you don't want to get pregnant, because this is also a time of creation, so if you don't want to have a baby, you need to make sure you're taking care of that, because a lot of people will find that are indulging in the sex and the creation and using the energy that way, there will be a lot of pregnancies around the time of this new moon. So if you don't want to get pregnant, you don't want to have a baby, you need to do something so that you don't conceive at this time. But it's a beautiful thing. It's great. It's very positive. Use this creative energy. Take action. Express yourself. Express what you desire. For those of you, write a manifestation list. But if you're able to do that, and then steer clear of those volatile emotions and things that will come up, what you're going to find is this is going to be a very effective and powerful time for you to manifest your desires. So use this time. Okay. And for some of you that are wondering, kind of like, well, this eclipse sounds interesting, I'm not really sure why, do some research on it, because you are going to find quite a bit of interesting information out there on it. It's a pivotal time worldwide. So check that out. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. For those of you that are interested, the cards are the Lover's Path Tarot by Chris Waldhair. We're also going to pull a card from the Whispers of Love. I have prayed over and shuffled my Lenormands, my Sibilla Italianis, and my Sibilla Indovinas. Italianas, not these, Italianas. But I prayed over them, shuffled them. I have, when I prepared the cards, I prayed and shuffled and asked that all of you receive at least one message. Another one. Okay. So what you'll find is, and on the bottom of the deck, and we'll cover that when we go there. What you'll find is you should have at least one message in this reading. Hopefully most of you will have many more. Fingers crossed. And we'll cover that later too. Okay. So let's move these around. Make sure you guys can see these. Now the one thing to remember, this is a general reading and it is for a large number of people. So take the messages that are resonating with you, that those would be your messages, and if the other things aren't resonating, then they're just not your messages this week. That's okay, because it is for a large number of people. You may find that there really is only one message in the reading for you, and that's okay. That's okay. That actually means that you're doing okay, because the readings that we've been having recently, it's a lot of heavy stuff. So if you find that there's not a lot in the reading for you, that's probably a really positive thing. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. Okay. So in the center we have the situation, and then we have this is a lesson you were supposed to learn. Foundation, but they're saying it's a lesson you were supposed to learn. Then we have your fears. What's blocking you from moving forward, and what they're recommending. You have 2 cards for that. They're so slippery. Hopefully we don't have to move them around a lot today. And then you have 2 cards that they're going to have us flip over later, and those are what you're unaware of, what's unknown to you at this time. Okay, so starting off, we have the 4 of arrows. In traditional tarot, the arrows would be swords. It's all about your thoughts. But this card, it's all about healing, isolation, introspection, really taking the time to heal ourselves, taking the time to rest, finding some peace after a very emotionally disappointing situation. Detaching from the world, detaching from others, detaching from the everyday chaos and busyness in order to regain some balance. In traditional tarot, this has it depicts a wounded soldier after a battle. He's just worn out and beat up. So this is a love reading. And you've gone through a very challenging time. Many of you have actually gone through a breakup. And you have been taking this breather, this time to recoup, to recover, to pull yourself away from those emotions. But they're saying for some of you, you've come to the point that it's time for you to now move forward, because you're now at the point that it's time to come out of the state of isolation. It's time to take some action. It's time to move forward. Because you're seeing the card like they're both laying here sleeping. So for some of you, it's almost like you're sleeping while everything else is moving forward, while everything else is happening, is occurring. They're saying for some of you, you're missing out on opportunities. You're just letting them pass you by because of this breakup, this heartache that you're going through. But it's time to have closure on that, they're saying, because for some of you, you had this breakup, you've been doing healing, you've been working on healing your heart, you've been trying to move forward, but you've not been able to, because your life, for some of you, your life is completely out of balance. So for some of you, there's just a lot of partying, there could be multiple other people that you've been rebounding with, but you're totally out of balance. For some of you, they're saying that you haven't even really been taking the necessary time that you need to reflect, Because for some of you, they're saying that the way that you have dealt with this breakup is that you have just thrown yourself into anything and everything else. Partying, drinking, for some of you, substance abuse. For some of you, it could be online pornography. It could be multiple one-night stands. It could be other people. So there are some of you that still have to, you have to break away from those things that are going on to take that time to heal, make some decisions to be able to move forward. But then for many others, they're saying that you have come to the point that you know what you need to do, but it's time to wake up and do that. They're saying it's time to wake up and take some action now. Because you'll continue to be out of balance and things will not move forward in your life until you, for some of you, it's you have to take some final closure with this person. There's not been any closure. It's like everything's just been hanging there. And they're saying neither of you have wanted to deal with it. It's like you went through this breakup. See how she has her back turned to him? Neither of you are having conversations. Neither of you are talking to each other. But you need to do that to have closure. And then you have like all this rocky water and rocky emotion. I mean, so for some of you, this was a very, very ugly, hurtful breakup. But you've been stuck in your own thoughts. You've been contemplating. You've been thinking, where do I go from here? You've been thinking about the things that you want and you desire. And that's good. That's good. But it's time to wake up. It's time to move forward. It's time to get that closure, to take those actions. Now, as far as the foundation lesson that you were supposed to be learning from this relationship is you have the card Illusion. And in the traditional tarot, this would be the Moon card. It's interesting because you actually have the new moon up there. And the moon is all about, things being hidden. And this card's all about, intuition, fantasies, emotion, enchantment. Being enchanted by love, for better or worse, good, bad, or ugly, but being confused by the illusions of things that may or may not be real. We may think someone loves us deeply, but they don't. We may think they're looking out for our best interest, but they're not. Those are the illusions, which can sometimes be misperceived because of maybe intense emotions that we have, intense loyalty to someone that we have. But this card's also about it's time to know, and you need to know what is real and what is not. Now, what you'll find when it comes to the major, so those of you that aren't familiar with tarot, you have the major arcana cards. Those are things that are destined. Those are big life change. Those are game changers. Those, you really don't have control over them because they're typically divinely orchestrated. They're destined. They're fated. You just kind of have to hold on and enjoy the ride when it comes to those. Then you have the minors. And those are your daily things. You have a little bit more control over those. Now with this spread, you have two major arcanas, and actually you have a third on the bottom of the deck, which they're wanting us to cover that later. And then you have three of the minors. But this is a major arcana. This is something that's destined. It's fated. And what you'll find with the major arcanas is it always has a couple. And it's talking about their story. And on this one, it's Odette and Ivan. And Princess Odette, she's actually popular in the, Swan Lake ballet. And she had been cursed by this sorcerer to remain a swan forever on this island, except for in the evening. And in the evening, she could become a human. And the only way for her enchantment to be broken was to have a vow, to receive a vow of eternal love from someone. However, if that vow was broken, even by, chance, she would die. And it would be the end of her. And Prince Ivan, he met her. He promised that he loved her and he was going to return to her and he was going to claim her as his bride. But the sorcerer tricked Ivan by sending someone that was disguised as Odette. So what he ended up doing, because it was not Odette, it was someone else. It was someone that was dark. You see this dark here. And so he mistakenly vowed his everlasting love to the wrong person. It was the wrong person. It wasn't her. It wasn't his eternal love. And as soon as he did that, he heard this heart-wrenching cry in the distance, and it was the cry of a dying swan. And Ivan ran to rescue Odette, but at that point it was too late. She was dead. She was gone. The lesson that you were supposed to learn is that someone is not for you. They are not this grand love that you envision. They are okay. So for many of you, this is a twin flame reading. And with twin flames, there's a lot of spiritual stuff that occurs, a lot of spiritual innuendo. What you'll find with twin flames that are in, that their partner, their twin, their other half keeps returning to an ex spouse, to an ex lover, to a karmic partner. And the reason I say karmic partner is because karma, there's some lesson that wasn't learned. Lesson not learned. Usually in that instance, when they keep returning to someone, and they will keep returning despite it being a very ugly, turbulent, hateful, cruel relationship, it's because they're chained and bound to that person. And it's an energetic thing. Typically, what I have found with doing energy healing and work for twins that are in this situation, typically there has to be either a depossession or that person's soul is just dark, because there is a spiritual war going on right now. That's why twin flames have incarnated at this time. There is a spiritual war going on. If you do a little research and look online, you'll find that there really is a battle between light and dark going on. Love and everything that's the opposite of love. Fear, hatred, cruelty. There really is a spiritual war going on. So for some, this is about twin flames where one, in most cases, the masculine has returned and has repeatedly returned to someone that was not meant for them, was not intended for them. And for some, it's a dark person. Their soul is dark. They're trying to keep them from the light, from the love that they're destined to be with. They're trying to keep them from their twin. Because when twins come together, twins separately have a lot of power. But when they come together, their power is astronomical. To the world, they just look like this unbelievable power couple. They're like perfect for each other. They're charismatic. They're helping people. They're doing healings. They're doing motivational speaking. They're here to be of service to humanity. But because twins, we come down here with this large number of gifts that we possess to help humanity. It's a lot of light. It's a lot of love. So because it is a spiritual war going on right now, the dark does not want twins to come together. So for a number of you in the situation, you did not learn the lesson and go toward the love that you're destined to be with, that eternal love, your twin flame. You were pulled off course yet again by the dark. Because for some of you, you are still contemplating going back to that ex. So for that ex that things have broken up with, they're saying for some of you, you still have not officially called it quits. Even though you've taken a break and it ended really ugly, you still have not officially called it quits. You keep returning to the dark swan. And it says one of light and love that you're destined to be with. That truly is your other half. And for those of you that aren't twins, if this is a situation, it is meant to be that the lesson that was not learned is you chose the wrong person. You keep choosing the wrong person. You have this opportunity for divine love, for happiness, for joy, for something beautiful, for something blessed. But you keep being deceived and returning to someone who is not good for you. It is not the right person. And for some of you, there are things going on that you're not aware of. So for some of you, some of you broke up because you discovered some deception occurring. So it could be cheating, lies. But there's some additional deception, things that you have not discovered. And for many, the moon, this is all intuition. So a number of you, it's an intuitive knowing that, okay, this isn't working out, this isn't right, but I don't know why I keep being pulled there. It's simply because this is simply a lesson for you to learn, something for you to know. This person is not good for you. You have to let them go. You have to break that vicious cycle. And for most of you, they're saying that you know the person that you're meant to be with. Waves, time. Oh, because for some of you, because you chose that person again recently, you created waves. Okay, waves of anger that make you now think that it's going to be like climbing a mountain to get back with the person that you know that you're meant to be with. Which is why you have some fears. Now the card that what your fears are, hopefully you can see that you have the Temptation card. And in traditional tarot, this would be the Devil. And in traditional tarot, I mean, it has a picture of a devil with these two people chained to him. And this card, it's all about, you know, obsessions, being tempted, letting our temptations take control, you know, inner turmoil and sexual desires. It could be obsession in the form of envy or jealousy. They need to be controlling. Now, it's a beautiful card when it's upside down because it means you're free of those things. You've broken free of that. Now, the couple in this card, you have Paolo and Francesca. Francesca married Giovanni because of their families. It was essentially for money. So she married Giovanni for money, for gain, to help their families, benefit their families. But she fell in love with Giovanni's brother, Paolo. And it did end in heartbreak and sorrow because it was the brother. So this picture that you're seeing, this was actually a painting that was created, and it shows Paolo embracing her from behind while the forces are swirling around them in the air and the turbulence in Hades. They're saying for some, it's almost like you feel like you've gone through hell with this person. Doesn't make any sense. Okay. So they're saying you ended a relationship with someone. It's been very ugly. It's not been officially completed. That cycle's not been officially closed, but you're almost there. And there's just like a last step that you have to do. This lesson that you were supposed to learn, that you've not finished learning the lesson, you're very close about 2 people. You're now looking back and you're realizing, okay, I made the wrong choice. And for some of you, they're saying that you're even kind of torn again and trying to make the choice. So for some of you, you're afraid of being pulled back into this miserable situation with the ex. But for most, they're saying you have come to the realization that this is not the person for you. You want to move forward. You want to break free of that. You don't know how. You do have this other love interest. For some of you, it is your twin. Okay, so that's why they're saying you've gone through hell together, because it's been quite the journey. You both have been kind of beat up after it. But what you're afraid of is you're afraid things are going to end just like they did with your ex. So what you find with twins is typically the person that you're with before you meet your twin flame, there will be some similarities, but the similarities are only typically in the very beginning, and then it goes sour very quickly. Now, for a number of you, this went sour a long time ago, but you continued to hang in there and you kept trying. But then you met your twin. You met this person of everlasting love. What you're afraid of is because there are some similarities between the two, you're afraid that, okay, if I move forward with her and I take this leap of faith, what if she turns out to be exactly like my ex? What if it turns out to be a disaster again? And for some of you, you're afraid that this is not going to work out. So feel free to change the sexes at any point if this sounds like your situation, but to keep people from being completely, utterly confused. What they're saying is, this is a man, broke up with a woman, lesson was to learn that she is not the right one. There's two messages with this card. The one message pertaining to the masculine, which I just shared. The other message is for the divine feminine. You're fearful that you've gone through this hell, you've been suspended, you've been going through all this turbulence, and it's just not going to work out. You're feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like it's just not going to happen. I feel this is going to be a connection that just ends in sorrow because it's just not happening. It's just not moving forward. And for many, you feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've been through hell trying to bring this love together. But fear not. They're saying, fear not. Okay, now as far as Allie, stop. Do you want to get up? Here's who keeps scratching. You're going to say hi? Okay, you've had your moment on the camera. Now sit down. Okay. Now, as far as this card is what's blocking you, and this came up reverse. You know, I don't typically have reversals, so since it came out like that, we're going to go with it. Let me flip this up so you guys can see the artwork and graphics on it. So this is the 5 of staves. Typical tarot, this would be wands, and this is, again, what's blocking you from moving forward. This card is all about conflict, competition, anger, battles, dissension, a lot of ego-oriented competition and battles. But in reverse, it's all about moving past those disagreements and those worries and those concerns, and in really understanding what's important, what you value, and coming together, unifying forces, coming into union, coming into agreement. So this is about those of you in this situation where you're going through the heartache and heartbreak and you're really trying to let an ex go. Some of you are still going through the legal battles with that, but you have this new love partner. You've also ended things with a new love partner, with a new potential, because for many of you, you weren't even in a relationship with each other. You like met each other, fireworks went off, especially if you're twins, fireworks go off, but then you immediately pushed her away. See how he's got this club held up and he's about to smack her in the head? So for some, too much emotion, I'm having too many feelings, I can't deal with this, I'm going to beat her in the head with a club. I'm going to push her away. Not really truly physically beat her, but I'm going to push her away. I'm going to beat down this connection, this relationship, because I don't trust it. And for some, it's because of money. They're pointing out the coins. Like you chose... There's something with this ex tied to money. You chose money. But she's like trying to calm him down. The guy behind's even kind of looking at him like, dude, you're crazy. You've lost your mind. How could you do this? But he's full speed ahead. So the connection with the person that you're meant to be with, you've ended that. The two of you are not talking, you are not speaking. What is blocking you from moving forward in life is the fact that you are not talking to this person. You're not moving beyond the anger, the battles, the argument. And for some of you, the divine feminine, it's also you letting your anger go about that. Because for some of you, you're kind of like that guy who's looking at him like, what is wrong with you? Some of you are still holding on to anger and sadness and sorrow. It's time to let that go. And for those of you that are the divine masculine and you push this divine connection away out of fear, some of you fear about money, which is why you went back to the ex. That's what's keeping you stuck. So you have to release the fear. You have to release the anger. To move forward, you have to put all of that behind you. Look at what do you really value, what is it that you really want, so that you can move forward with that person, come into union, come together with a person that's going to bring you the things that you desire. Now, as far as what they recommend you do, you have 2 cards. The first one is 6 of Cups. And this is all about memories, innocence, childhood, children. It can speak about memories of children. It can speak about your memories as a child. But it's all about shedding those sad memories, those sad thoughts, those constraints, those things that are keeping you stuck, in order for you to create a new home, in order for you that you have to let those things go from the past, having learned those lessons, having become stronger, having become more sure of what you want, and being able to move forward in the future, into the present, letting go of the past. Because the home, the happiness, the things that you desire are in the future, but it requires letting this go. Because a number of you, you're still restricted by the past. So for those of you that it's an ex you keep going to, you're still bound to that person. You're still stuck to them. And for some of you, you may still not be contemplating going back to that person. It could very well be for some that because they broke your heart so much, you're not opening your heart up to anyone else. Which you can see in the other card that's a recommendation. And it's, treasure your loved ones. And you can see how like the hands are cupped around this woman and her child. So for some of you, because your heart was broken so much, you have totally closed off. You have the world at your fingertips. Everything that you desire is within reach, but you have to, instead of having your hands closed, you have to open up your hands and receive it. So this love of a lifetime, the person that you want to have a family with, you have to open up. You have to open up your heart. Like a flower, when a flower's blooming, it just opens up. It doesn't worry, okay, am I going to receive the rain, the water that I need, the sustenance that I need? Am I going to receive enough sunshine to keep me alive and keep me well? It doesn't worry about any of that. It just opens up. It opens up to receiving the sunshine and the rain and everything that it needs to nourish it so that it can grow and become plentiful and beautiful. You have the person to have everything that you want right there. It is going to require rebirth. They're pointing out that the lily, and those are typically what you will give at funerals. You also have them at Easter with Jesus, the resurrection, but there's a potential rebirth with the love of a lifetime. This person will help bring your dreams to fruition. They are your dreams come true. You see how beautiful it is around her and this child? It's a beautiful garden. There's light beaming down there's light beaming down on top of her head. But it's a blessed connection. And for a number of you, it will result in a family because you've been wanting to have a family. But you have to open up. Now, I'm actually going to pull out the book and read that real quick, because they're saying to read it. So let's see. Now, it's number 10 as well, and 10 is all about, 10s are completions. Oh, okay. So I was asking, okay, how can this be a completion when this is supposed to be a beautiful blessing? Because they're saying it's a completion. You see how it looks like almost it's a raindrop, but it's like a teardrop. They're saying that it's the end of your tears. It's the end of the sadness. It's the end of the sorrow. It's the end of that cycle in order to move forward with blessings and the happiness and the things that you desire. So for some of you, this is letting the anger and the sadness and the doubts and the worries go so that you are ready. But for a large number of you, this is about letting your sadness and your heartache and things of which you had hoped would happen with someone else. Because for a number of you, this is something that you thought was going to be this. You thought the relationship with this person would bring your dreams and hopes and desires to fruition, and it didn't. No matter how much you tried, no matter how much you put in. And a lot of you worked your butt off. You tried so hard, but it wasn't meant to be. it just ended up in tears and heartbreak. But God has brought you a gift. For most of you, this is a twin flame. You have this gift from God. It's better than anything you could imagine, but you do have to open up to it. You do have to open up and receive it. Now let's read the book real quick. Okay. It is important to love others deeply. We have a group of people in our lives that love and support us. Cherish these people, whether it is a special partner, your family, or your friends. The angels are prompting you that you need to reach out to your loved ones and make sure you show them love. So for the divine masculine, you need to open up. So for a number of you have been in denial of your feelings. You have hidden your feelings from the woman that you love and that you feel drawn to. So it's almost like the hands are making a shield. So for some of you, it's almost like you've hidden them because you think, oh, it's going to protect her from discovering all this mess that I'm going through. But you've not allowed yourself to open up emotionally. You have not allowed yourself to communicate those things, to share how you truly feel. And for some of you to also honestly share what occurred with the ex, because there's some things that need to be cleared. You have to clear the air with that. But you do have to express how you feel with her. And again, I'm getting for some of you, you're going to ask questions about, well, I don't know if this is me because, you know, I'm the feminine and he's the masculine, or vice versa. Or, you know, those of you that are even, you know, same-sex couples, if it sounds like your story, it is. Because even with same-sex, there's always a masculine, there's a feminine. There always is. So if it sounds like your story, change the gender accordingly. Okay. Now, what we have is like the overall energies. The first one that we have is consider your foundation. And at the bottom it says you are being asked to look at how committed you are to love. And in this deck, this is actually, I believe, the last card. I think there's 50 cards in this deck. And if you look here, if you're at the home, you have, again, a new moon. It's the second time we've had, second time we've had a new moon. So for a number of you, this new moon is going to be extremely powerful. You have to use you're being pushed to use this new moon energy to finally break yourself free of these chains to move forward to what you desire. But it's all about home. It's about family. And you see that like everything's paired up. You have these fairies paired up as a couple. You have the couple. You have the foxes. You have the raccoons. You even have, looks like there's 2 owls paired up in the corner. But everyone is paired up with their partner, with their other half. Home is where the heart is. You have to, a number of you, you're at the point that you have to make a decision. And it's a decision about a love partner. It's a decision about, who do I build my home with? Who do I build my foundation with? Now, for the other card that we have is the overall energy. It's a major arcana. It's number 2. It's wisdom. And in traditional tarot, this would be the high priestess. And hopefully you can see that with no glare. This is all about knowledge, education, enlightenment. This is, you know, gaining wisdom from education. But it's also, you know, the high priestess, she has like knowing beyond logic. She's highly intuitive, very spiritually connected. And so for those of you that know the correct pronunciation, I'm probably going to butcher these. But so you have Shahrazad and you have Shahryar. So Shahrazad's the female and Shahryar is the male. And this is a couple. So he discovered that his wife had cheated on him. And so what he decided he was going to do was he was going to marry a virgin every day, and then he would behead the previous day's wife so that they would never have an opportunity to be unfaithful to him. And he did move forward in this, and he actually had killed about 1,000 women by the time he finally came upon Scheherazade. And their first night, their first evening, their wedding night, she asked if she would be allowed, because she knew that it would be her last night alive. She asked if she could read a story to her sister that she loved very much. And he gave her permission to do that. And as the dawn was breaking, she had stopped her story, and he asked her to finish her story. And she said that she couldn't because the dawn was breaking. And so he went ahead and he spared her life so that she could finish her story the next evening. And this continued for 1,001 nights. Every single evening she would tell an exciting story. He would want to hear more the next night, and ultimately it saved her life, and it saved thousands of other lives. So after 1,001 nights, she told him that she didn't have any more stories. She'd run out of things to tell him, run out of things to share with him. And at that point, he had fallen completely in love with her. He had fallen in love with her wisdom. He had fallen in love with her stories, her wit. But he was completely in love with her, and he made her his queen. And she, because it was a true love, was faithful to him the rest of his life. So for a number of you, things ended with an X because there was cheating. They stepped out of the marriage. They stepped out of the relationship. It's two people. You're choosing between two people. That's your ex. That's your future. That's your past. That's your future. Which is interesting because it ended because of cheating. He had his marriage end because of cheating, but he found something beautiful, something blessed. Now you see this card that he's like kind of sitting behind her. So for a number of you, you're not together, you're not talking, because remember, it completely went up. Some of you it went up in an argument. For some of you, it just stopped. It just ended. But you're not speaking. You see how she's even, like, she's cloaked. You're not communicating with each other. She's now, because of what transpired, protecting herself, shielding herself so she doesn't get hurt again. And he's watching her from afar. So for a number of you that you think that, so for the Divine Feminine, that you think that this is completely over, that it's never going to happen, you're never going to come together, he's watching you from afar. And for those of you that are Divine Masculine that are listening, it's time to stop watching from afar and take some action. Because that's what's keeping you from being happy. Now, they had me put two cards upside down, so let's flip them, because these are what is unknown at this time. And the first one that you have is Seven of Arrows. Okay, they're tied to that card. Oh, they're saying they would have had me put them upside down, but we're going to run out of room momentarily on this table. So Seven of Arrows. This card, it's all about defense, caution, self-protection, feeling vulnerable, being able to defend ourselves in a difficult situation, needing to take the time to examine the situation closely. And traditional tarot, this has this shady character, and he's stealing all the swords. And he steals them because he's trying to disarm his enemy. And his actions, they're spontaneous, but they're foolish. And when his enemy wakes up, his enemy's very angry. And so he still has two of the swords sitting there. And one of the swords will likely make it back into the back of the shady character. And it's all about, our actions have consequences. If you look here, she's looking very guilty. And he's there with his hands crossed over his heart. He's looking sick. Supposed to be what you're unaware of. Oh, there's some other secrets you don't know. So this heartbreak, this healing, this time out that you've been taking to heal from this breakup, for a number of you, she just took off. There were lies, there was deception, there was cheating, betrayals, but there are still some things that she has not shared with you. There's still some things that you don't know. And it's already made you sick up to this point, and has made you close off your heart, which is why you're not opening up to this new love that you have, this new potential. Now the other card, and this one's reversed too. Well, upright, this is the 8 of Staves. And this is all about, sudden communication, movement, releasing things, letting something go. It's quick, it's swift, it's fast. It's also unknown information finally being released that makes some sense. But in reverse, it's all about waiting too long for communication. That now's the time to take the initiative to create the waves. Now's the time to take the initiative to create those waves, to have those conversations. Because you're waiting for someone else to take, because again, you're not even talking, your backs are turned to each other, you're both sleeping. It's time to take that first step. It's time to stop avoiding the conversation, because it's not going to be an easy conversation. These two are they're like enemies. They're like enemies. It's not going to be an easy conversation, but the time has come to have that conversation. There will be waves. It's going to create some waves, which is funny. Now we know why they were talking about waves earlier. The conversation with this ex-partner, for some of you had business together, investments, ex-spouse, but it's going to create some waves, but you're not going to drown in the tidal wave. The nice thing is, you'll create some waves. You can put them on a happy little boogie board or surfboard and let them go out after the storm's passed. Let them go out to sea and go find themselves a new partner and go in your separate ways. But you're afraid to have that conversation because you're afraid to create those waves, because it's been so difficult already. You're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can deal with this again. I just can't deal with it again. And what else am I going to find out? What else has she done? But what's unknown is that you have to have this conversation. Because you have to have that conversation, because you can't move forward and repair this until this conversation's over. And you're avoiding it. A number of you are avoiding it. But they're trying to get you to stop avoiding it. Okay, let's pull some quick clarifiers, see if there's any additional information we can move these up here. Okay. Let's start. We don't need anything on that. Let's do, nope, not those. Let's do this one first. Let's use these. Okay. One more. Okay. So, on this card we have the angry woman, and then we have the trap. He's in prison, the slave. And then we have fright, death, endings. He's actually holding a timekeeper. Sands of time. Okay, because the time has come. The time has come to end that. Okay. And then we have thought. So again, this comes back to the story of, Ivan and Odette. You have a destined twin flame. It could also be a soulmate, but you have this divine couple destined to be together. For most of you, this is a twin flame situation. So you have these two women, and you have one that she's very, very angry. There's been a lot of angry words. There's been a lot of hatred. There's been a lot of fights. You see how the chair's just knocked down? And she's just spewing anger. I mean, her face is red. It's been very ugly. It's been very painful. And then you have this prisoner. He's trapped. He's stuck. And he's a slave. And he's on his own. So for some of you, you have been doing some thinking and contemplation, trying to figure out, okay, who do I choose? For some of you, the ex is trying to pull you back in. For some of you, it's just you still don't want to have that conversation. But you're contemplating, okay, who do I choose? Because again, this is all about what is the lesson that you were supposed to learn that you have still not learned. The lesson is that you are supposed to end things with the ex-spouse, the ex-partner, the person who's the dark swan. But that's also going to be ending your time of being stuck, of feeling like a prisoner. For many of you, you have been feeling used, unappreciated, unvalued. But the time has come to cut that stuff loose, to end that. It's over. It's done. It's the death of it. It's the ending of it. Because you have someone that you will build something beautiful with. And she's like kind of dropped her rose. Because even for some, she's been sitting there waiting for so long. So some of you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, like thinking, is he ever going to choose me, or is he going to remain stuck to the devil? What point is he going to break himself free from the devil and see what is going on? See things for what they really are? When is he going to finally learn his lesson? Because, so sometimes we're really stubborn. Sometimes we can be stubborn and we refuse to have change. And sometimes, especially if we've tried so hard for so many years to make something work with someone, we're like, I'll be darned if I'm going to let this go yet. Because I have given it my all and I'm not quitting. But the time has also come because for some of you, she's ready to give up. You're ready to give up. You're like, you had this rose, you were holding on to it, you had all these great hopes, and you're like, well, dang, this is taking forever. Okay, let's do 3 on the temptation. Okay, we have the l'amante, the female lover, the reunion, and amore, love. And this is again for what are your fears, and that's temptation. So for some of you, you're afraid that you're never going to come into reunion, that you're never going to come into union, that you're never going to come together, that you're not going to have this love of a lifetime. Because she's the female lover, she's the l'amante. And she wants this reunion, she wants this love of a lifetime, but she's afraid that it's just not going to happen. Because he's allowing himself to be chained to the devil. And for her, the time has come that she's contemplating just moving on. But on the other side of the house, divine masculine is afraid he's not going to get this love. He's afraid of what if I go through this all again? He's afraid of, okay, well, what if she's just a temptation? What if I think that it's this beautiful love, but it turns out to be this nightmare again that I've always had? Because for number, it's like a nightmare that you've always had, he's always had for years, they're saying, for years. For some of you, this is like 10, 20 years of a nightmare relationship that they've repeatedly tried to break you free. They even brought your other half in, but you still have stubbornly not let that go. But congratulations, because you are at the point that you're like, okay, I want to let this go. I think she's the one. I hope. But what if she turns out to be like her? Because it was great with her in the very early beginning, and then it became this nightmare. But you don't have anything to be afraid of. It is that true divine love that you're hoping for, that you desire. Okay. Let's do about the 5 of staves. We'll go over there. What is blocking you? So we have the Disperche, the Grand Consolation, and the Lamante, the male lover. So this is all about worry, sadness, affliction, troubles, irritations. This is, finally having gratification after a long time. And then the male lover. So what's blocking you? You see above his head he's got like money, a ring, feeling like an emperor. You have the crown. So what's blocking some of you is you had this love that ended in heartache, sadness. You had this opportunity for true love. So because these two, you see they're like looking at each other, they're a couple. They're a couple. She's alone, he's alone though. So you have this opportunity for love of a lifetime, but instead you chose money. You let things go with her. Earlier they were saying for some of you chose money. They were pointing out these coins. So you had this love of a lifetime come in. She and everyone around her saw this connection that the two of you have, but you refused to see it. And you pushed her away. You pushed her to the side. For some of you, it was done in a very hurtful fashion. Because you chose someone, you chose love over money. And now you're realizing, okay, I want love, but you're all on your own. And for some, what's blocking you is to communicate your feelings. You see, he's serenading, he's standing out, he's trying to coax her out. She's inside crying. So he needs to sing her a sweet song. He needs to sing her a song of love. He needs to communicate his feelings. And if he does that, he will be able to coax her out because she loves him. She desires the same thing. But it's going to be a change. Fives are all about changes. It's going to be a change on his part of how he has handled the relationship with her, how he has handled things with her. Because for many divine masculine, you have not shared your emotions with her. You haven't truly shared your feelings. Even when you were talking and dating and seeing each other, you wouldn't open up. You wouldn't communicate how you felt about her. You wouldn't communicate about things that were going on with your ex. You just clammed up. But it's time to communicate those things. It's time to share those things. Now, let's do the 6 of Cups, and we'll do the treasure, your loved ones, and then, okay, we're going to do those two. And then we're going to put a bow on it and wrap this up. Okay, so for the 6 of Cups, and again, this is what they're recommending you do. You have the Il Nemico, and this is the enemy, the person who acts in secret. It's the rival, it's resentment. It's also like concealed hatred. Despising the person. Then you have the La Vicha Signora, and that is the old woman. That is, it could be like a mother, a grandmother, an old acquaintance. saying old lady. So for many of you, this is again what you need to let go of. You need to let go of the nostalgic memories. You need to let go of that person. So for some of you, this was your old lady, this was your old woman, this was your wife. And for some of you, you weren't married, but you were like in a contract together, because then you have the merchant, and that's all about, contracts, agreements, exchanges. It's all about mediation. So for some of you, it's still not finalized. The divorce still isn't final, or the proceedings for splitting up like properties, investments, it's still not finalized. You need some mediation to break you free, to end this relationship, to end this marriage, to end this contract. And for some of you, you feel like another man came in and stole what was yours. Like, I worked so hard for this, I worked so hard to be with her and create this foundation, and it was just stolen from me. And for some of you, you feel like she stole everything from you. Because the merchant, he has all of his goods, his wares all around him. And you feel that she stole it. For some of you, you feel like she stole it because someone stole it that was with her, that she cheated on you with. But again, this is all about what it is that they recommend you do. This is over. It's time to get some mediation. So for some of you, call your attorney, hire an attorney. It's time to sign the papers. It's time to move forward. Isn't that what they were saying? Wasn't Six of Cups in the reading last week? I think it was. Because they were saying something about signing papers then too. But it is time to come to an agreement. It is time to finish this. And for some of you, you are going to need a mediator. You're going to need an attorney. Because right now there's a lot of hatred between the two of you. And you're not going to be able to come to a resolution on your own. Now, as far as the treasure your loved ones, you have love, and then trip to the country, and chattering. And this is on the treasure your loved ones. This is what they recommend you do. Remember, they were saying opening up, communicating. This is the world. You have the world at your hands. This is the love of a lifetime. This is meant to be love. This will bring you happiness and not heartache. The two of you, many of you, you don't live near each other. You're at a bit of a distance. But you have to have a conversation. Again, she's by herself, because a number of you, you're still putzing around trying to figure things out with the ex. Even though some of you, there may be one night stands, or there may be rebound people involved. They're saying, bottom line, it comes to the choice between two people. So some of you are still too busy messing around with the ex because of legal matters, finally handling things. She's by herself. You are at a distance. You're actually going to have to travel to see each other, and you're going to have a conversation. You're going to have to communicate with each other. They're saying in-person communication is best, because there's been so much that has transpired between the two of you. You need to be able to see each other face to face and speak, have a conversation. Open up. See how there's like this bird caged? So you've been afraid to communicate? But they're saying if you just squawk and open up, you will free yourself from this prison. And the bird's yellow, and yellow is all about joy and happiness. So if you can squawk and open up your mouth and have this conversation, you will set yourself free and you will find happiness. And for a number of you divine masculine, it is not going to be an easy conversation. Some of you have two difficult conversations you're going to have. You see how they're on donkeys? donkeys are asses. They're saying for some of you, he's wearing this big old hat. They're saying some of you feel like a complete ass hat for how you have treated her. This woman who holds your world, she holds everything that you want in her hands. She is everything that you desire. She is what will lead you to this happiness that you desire. And you are now realizing that. And they're saying for most of you, you actually do realize that now. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have totally screwed up. I have been a complete ass hat. I don't know how to fix this. I want to sing my song to her. I want to open up and communicate. But I'm so afraid she is not going to accept any of it. She will. She will. But you are going to have to take the first step, because they're saying for divine masculine, you are not moving forward with any of them. That's why in the beginning they were saying it's time to open up your eyes. You have to wake up. You have to do something, because time is slipping by. The time has come, but it is going to be you taking the lead. It is going to be you stepping into your power. It is going to be you initiating those conversations. You will find when you initiate those conversations, she's going to be open to it. She's going to be receptive to it. That you have this love of a lifetime. This is a blessing from God. But you're going to have to initiate those conversations, because she's not doing it. Because for a number of you, you see in this card how she's like trying to calm him down. She's trying to reach out to him, and he's like got his club raised. For a number of you, during the time when you were communicating, it was always her reaching out to you. It was always her trying to contact you. She's not going to contact you anymore. It's not because she doesn't love you. She is hurt. You did break her heart, just as you had your heart broken by your ex. But it is repairable, but you are going to have to take the lead. You're going to have to step into your power and do that. Okay, round and home. So for these 7 of arrows, and again, these are the things that are unknown, you have the La Mica. And this is all about a friend, a confidant, someone that you think you can trust. You have the Lameno. This is a marriage, nuptials, union, contract. And then you have the stanza, the room. This is all about, intimacy, privacy. So you thought that you could trust her. You thought that you could. But this marriage, this arrangement, this agreement, this because for many of you, you're not even married. But it all fell apart. And it fell apart really ugly with huge arguments. Again, here she's got this chair turned upside down, ready to throw it at someone. There's a lot of anger and a lot of hurtful things said, which could explain why he's sitting there with his arms crossed across his chest, just trembling and sick. So for a number of you, this is about a house. It's about a way of living, a lifestyle. They're pointing out the ornate frames. So for a number of you, the relationship only came together, which is similar to Francesca being married just for money. So for a number of you, she was in it for the wrong reasons. They were in it for the wrong reasons. They were just in it for money, for finances, for appearances, for how things would look to family and to friends. And again, that's tradition. That's what we've always done. You're going to discover some more information, some more lies. There's something else that she has not told you yet. It's almost like she started, you thought you could trust her, you thought this was a great connection, you kept trying to make this work out, and it fell apart miserably. Huge arguments. You discovered some things that you did not want to know. There are still some things you don't know yet. There's still some things that are not discovered. And lastly, for your 8 of staves, and again, that is all about it's time to take the initiative and have those conversations. I will flip it upright though so you guys can see the graphics that are on that. Now, you start off with the La Alegría, and this is cheerfulness, happiness, it's celebrating. There's two things that talk about happiness. One is happiness of the heart. That is not this card. This is about happiness with friends, family, celebrating. Then you have the prisoner. And this is, you know, it's someone that's in prison. They're stuck. They're not able to move forward. They're not able to take action. They're constrained. And then you have the speranza. And that is... it's hope, it's waiting, it's apprehension, it's having hopes and dreams. So you had things fall apart, you went separate ways. You have been partying, you've been drinking, you've been doing everything to avoid having this conversation. Everything possible. So for some of you, it's been other women. For some of you, it's drinking. It's partying with your friends. It's some substances. But you're doing everything you can to not have this difficult conversation because you're apprehensive about that. You're worried about that. You're not taking action. You're not moving forward because you're worried about having, oh my gosh, the last conversation was horrible. Stuff got totally messed up. I don't want to do that yet. I'm just going to keep avoiding it. You're just avoiding. You're avoiding having the conversation with her. You're avoiding having the conversation with her. And some of you have not been having the conversation because you're hopeful that, well, maybe things are going to turn around. Maybe things are going to change. But what you're unaware of is things are not going to change. There are more secrets that you haven't been told that are really going to anger you even more than you already are. But it's time to take the initiative no matter how uncomfortable that conversation is going to be. Because by having that conversation, you're going to free yourself from this prison. You will actually be able to move forward. And those hopes and those dreams, those things that you desire, you'll be able to have those. That's interesting. You know, I've been saying from the beginning, it's two people, it's two women. This woman with a plant that's alive, looking kind of sad. She dropped a rose. She's hopeful. She's got her hands held in like a prayer. She's been praying for it, but she's given up hope on it. Her plant's not completely withered and dead yet. The gardener hasn't been tending that garden, but she's hopeful. She's this woman. They're wearing the same clothing. She's that woman. And this is an angry old woman. That's her. She's very angry. Those of you that have been in a relationship with this person, they've been a very angry, cruel person. They've been very domineering, very overbearing, very manipulative, very controlling. And they don't hesitate to cut you down, to hurt you. But again, the lesson that you are supposed to learn is that you are supposed to cut free, end that cycle, so that you can have the right, you can choose the right person. Well, hopefully that helps everyone. And hopefully everyone receives at least one message with that. I do wish you all an amazing week filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings. And for everyone out there, hang on because we are about to embark on a very intense time kicking off with this new moon. If you do some of the research, and maybe I'll do a little informative video at some point about what's about to transpire with this big eclipse we have coming. It's going to have there's going to be a lot of shakeups and a lot of things are going to be happening. So hold on, be thankful, be in a state of gratitude, be in a state of prayer. Don't forget to ask your angels to help you, because those of us that have been stuck, which have been nearly all of us, things are in the imminent future about to be shaken free, but it's going to be a lot of stuff happening at one time. So don't fear, don't worry, hold on, ask your angels for help. That is why they are there. They, again, will not help you unless you ask for their help. So make sure you're asking for their help, okay? And know as you're going through these intense changes that they are meant to bring about the things that you desire. They are meant to bring your hopes and your dreams to fruition. They are going to bring you, because most people have been stuck for a very long time. Most people have been stuck in a state of sadness, a state of loss, a state of stagnation. You're about to break free of that. You're about to break free and find happiness and joy and just feeling relieved and finding love and just bliss and joy and finding meaning in life again. Because for some, it's like you've been stagnant for so long and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this even for anymore? Like it's drug on for so long. You just, that spark, you're just like, oh my gosh, my spark is gone. You're about to get your spark back. You are. Now it's going to take a little work, but everything that is meant to be celebrated and worth it, it takes hard work. It takes some work. And you are going to be putting in some work this next month. But it's going to be worth it. It is going to bring about blessings. You are supported by a divine team. Don't forget that as you're going through it. Ask for their help. They will help you. And as you're going through it, I will continue, because I get to go through stuff along with all of you. I will continue doing your weekly readings, and hopefully those will assist you as you're going through these changes, because it is going to be like a roller coaster ride this next month for most people. So hang on, hold on, enjoy, and know that it is bringing you swiftly to that light at the end of the tunnel. Blessings are imminent. Positive things are imminent. You only have to get through this last moment of crunch time, and it should be a swift, bumpy month. But after that, everything's going to be turning around and being good. So I do wish you all an amazing week filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings.